so angry? Why are you so angry? Why are you so angry? You're racist. Why are you so angry? Really?
Arch Advocate Podcast. Merry Christmas to all. Baby, it's cold outside. Merry Christmas, everybody. It's Christmas, right? We say Merry Christmas because we are not Delta Bravos. Listen, bringing home the bacon, man. Baby, it's cold outside. All these things. Again, man, it goes back to that question. It's like, how do you people have so much time on your hands? This is the big problem you're trying to solve. Good Lord. Good news on the show today. Friend of the show, Aaron Williamson, is back on. And he has brought with him a very special, well, it's really, if you really look at it, it's a Christmas miracle. We have Rufio on the show today. Rufio. Hold on one second here. I brought up this YouTube clip. See if you can hear this. Rufio, the knockout man, one punch man, right? There's that new Netflix. I haven't watched it yet. There's that new Netflix cartoon called One Punch Man. I've heard raving reviews, but I have not watched it myself. One Punch Man, Rufio is on the show today, and I was very happy to talk to him. And unfortunately, I try to keep the show around an hour, right? And there was a lot more I wanted to get on. There were some things that he touched on that I didn't really get a chance to respond to, but I think you're gonna like it anyways. Now listen, I've said this before. I'm way up in the mountains. All right. Sometimes my internet signal isn't as strong as if you're sitting at your local Starbucks. But that being said, there's a couple of points where I have to stop the conversation and tell the guys, like, hey, listen, I need you to repeat everything that you just said. I think it happens twice or three times. Bear with it, right? Rufio's on the show. Aaron Williamson is back on the show. I was very happy to have them on. Enjoy today's podcast. Now listen, there's some things that are coming up this week I'm going to be addressing. Some of them are going to be a little uncomfortable, so I want you to stay tuned this week. There was a situation with Sargon of Akkad I'm going to be getting around to, and my response to it. We're going to be talking about cryptocurrencies. All right, one of the original crypto creeps had voiced an opinion on the Telegram channel that he wasn't exactly satisfied with the product. All right, I'm going to be addressing that. Right. It's funny because like on social media, like on my YouTube show, I have not as many subscribers as I would prefer. There are, when it comes to the podcast, it's like, I say it over and over again, like, you gotta hit subscribe, man. I don't have as many subscribers as I would like, but I'm working on it, right? But still, social media is a place, YouTube channels, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, like Twitter is a place where people come to me, strangers will come to me and talk complete garbage and insult me and threaten me and all that other stuff. It's like, and that stuff is just like, man, doesn't even affect me, right? I've reached a place in my life where it's like, well, if you're a stranger, then like, I don't respect like if you're just coming at me with insults, it's like I don't respect it because I don't know you. Like your words don't have any power because I have not given you any power. But if somebody that is close to me says something, it's like, well, that's very much different, right? That does affect me. So I'm going to be addressing something about the cryptocurrency market later on this week, and I hope you stick around for that. Please support the show. All right. For the meantime, before we get to what's going on this week with Sargon of Akkad, I will ask for specifically, like, hey, throw a tip in the tip jar using PayPal. You can go onto my website, archadvocate.com. It's right there on the top left, the PayPal link for my PayPal. Please support the show, man. The show doesn't go on without you. And Well, I'm gonna get a little further into that later on this week. But please support the show. Costs me money, takes money to make money, champ. And you got to support the things that you love, whether it's this or if it's missions or if it's legal funds for people who are being attacked by the left, whatever, man. Like, support the things that you stand for. All right, support the things that you like. That's it. I'm gonna drop you into this conversation with Aaron and Rufio, and I really hope you enjoy it. And I look forward. They're gonna be coming back on in the future, and I look forward to that. Here's the show for today. I will talk to you all mañana. Here's Aaron and Rufio. Enjoy.
It's pretty impressive. Hey, check it out. Look what I got here.
Is that Rufio?
Man, this is Rufio.
What? Ladies and gentlemen, on the Arch Advocate podcast today, we are joined by Aaron Williamson, who has really no affiliation to anything whatsoever. I don't even know if he's an actual person. And also, we are joined by the man who had the most epic live punch in the history of live punches ever being recorded. It's Rufio. Wow, man, this truly is a Merry Christmas.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Great introduction.
Well, I was saying on a podcast, I think it was yesterday, like, I'm not a fan of glorifying violence, right? I don't like that. I don't like what it does to people's souls. I don't like to see it either. And at the same time, it's, there's a certain, I don't know, personality type or class of people or whatever, and they seem to go through their whole lives asking for it, and they don't seem to ever get it. And when I see somebody using a deadly weapon in a fist fight, okay, number one, it's like, that's pussy. Like, I mean, if you're gonna box and get your dukes up and get it done, don't be bringing, you know what I mean? Like, you start bringing stuff into the fight, it's like, you're cheating, and you're asking for it, and then finally it's like, oh, he got it, and like, never, it's like, you know what it was like? It was in that movie Snatch with Brad Pitt. Remember the fighting scene where, like, it was a beautiful scene where Brad Pitt got knocked out, and then the camera panned to, like, he fell into, like, a pool of water, right? Because he was out. It was just such a beautiful, like, the cinematography and just the story that scene told us, like, yeah, that's what it's like to get knocked out. And that dude, like, when you hit him, like, he was like, when you put a lot of starch on a shirt and iron it, he was just like a cartoon. The dude was just flat. And it's like, yeah, that guy got what he was asking for. Like, there is justice in the world. And so I shared that. And so I'm happy to have you here because, like, I want to congratulate you on, it's like, dude, you won the lottery. Like, not only did you get that epic shot in, but it's been recorded forevermore.
Yeah, I continually tell people, I'm blessed to have the optics in that particular situation, I mean, because a lot of people don't realize that that's pretty normal, like, for a lot of us here in the Pacific Northwest who have kind of stood against that violence.
Yeah.
That was pretty normal. And I'm blessed to have those, like, perfect optics in that perfect moment. I honestly, I don't believe that it's a coincidence. I think that, I try not to sound cocky, and because, it is a big deal. It really is. And my life has taken off in a different path, in a different way because of it. I've received a lot of negative from it, for sure. But I have to assume that, I was put in that position for a reason, and it's propelled me into a leadership position. And so, I have to just feel like that happened for a reason, and people were inspired by it. And so, the more that we keep doing it, it really punches through that there is a reason why we do what we do. And there's a reason why we have to stand up for these things. Again, and that's a perfect image. I think people were, like, hungry to see somebody finally stand up to these people. They were of being taken advantage of. And let's just be honest, we live in a culture now where not everybody can go out and get involved. They've got all these extra responsibilities.
Sure, yeah. I've been saying that, like, the silent majority truly is the majority. It's like, look, I've got kids. I got to go do my thing for 10 hours today, and then I got to get home, and then I got to get my kids in the minivan and get them to band practice and get them to, dance recital. I got stuff I got to do. And not everybody can get involved, but it's like, Americans are a very patient people, but it's like eventually there is going to come a cliff's edge where it's like, I'm sorry, but you've pushed me up against the edge, and now I'm going to fight back. And I don't think you've truly calculated like when you piss that guy off, that guy that just got done, welding beads for 8 hours and stuck in traffic for 2 hours, and he's, you know what I mean? It's like, that guy's gonna be quiet, and he's gonna sit in his house, and he's gonna hope that this whole thing blows over. But like, boy, if you push that guy outside of his house, woe be unto you. And look, I'm sorry to interrupt, but give us a little backstory on that day. What were you doing in town that day?
Oh, man. Well, we were having, I can't even really remember. I think it was just like a generalized freedom rally.
Yeah, that's all it was. We're having a rally, pretty much just telling conservatives, hey, let's get together and let's show that we're not afraid. We're not afraid of being conservative. And that's the thing, man. When we go to these rallies, we're just standing up for the common man.
Right.
We're not looking for fights. We're not looking for anything. And that whole situation where he got his knockout, ironically enough, where he knocked that dude out, I got knocked out. I got hit across the face with a collapsible baton. Oh yeah, I had a goiter on the side of my face and everything else, man. I went to the hospital to make sure my jaw wasn't broke. Thank God it was, and still have a jaw of steel.
Yeah.
Because it went against the steel baton. But that day was a day we were just there to just promote America, promote patriotism. And that's the thing. A lot of people look at what we do and they say that we're going out there looking for violence. Dude, we're not violent. Our nature is not violent. Our nature, if anything, is protection. We don't look for violence. We look for having fun. If you look at a lot of these rallies that we've done and stuff like that, and mind you, I just want to state this clear. I have stepped down from being the vice president of the South Sound chapter.
No longer the vice president. Joining us on the show today, Aaron Williamson, who is no longer the vice president of the Northwest chapter of Proud Boys.
South Sound chapter. And I've stepped away from the Proud Boys as of right now.
Right.
But, what we've done, it's been pretty much not only promote patriotism, but it's to show the people that how insane and how violent the left actually is. When that. Yeah. No. Yeah. What I was gonna say is it's just pretty much that whole situation that happened where he got his knockout and I got knocked out. That whole situation was because the police was told by Ted Wheeler to stand down, and Antifa cornered us in an alleyway. And everybody thinks that, these guys were starting crap. No, we weren't starting shit, man. We were just sitting there having a nice patriot march that was permitted and everything else. The biggest problem with that whole situation is they cornered us. They were throwing IEDs, so homemade.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
People were.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You started cutting out after you said IEDs.
Yeah. So people were getting. So they were taking firework mortars.
Right.
They were repackaging them. They were throwing them at us, like flashbangs and stuff like that. But
let me interrupt real quick. I was like 5 feet away from those explosives, and I've been around fireworks my whole life. And the concussion that came from those things, that was what really, truly set me off. When I felt that, and I looked around the crowd, and I saw women, I saw a teenage girl, I saw disabled people waving flags. And when I felt that explosive, that's what really triggered me.
Right.
And you can see the video. From then on, it just kind of became chaotic. But
Yeah, and I mean, that whole situation, that situation. Honestly, that situation was handled improperly. One by the police and one by everybody, in that whole situation. But what do you do when you have people that have weapons? Mind you, we don't have weapons. We don't do any of that. We clearly state that having weapons just promotes more and more violence. So, Antifa brings weapons, and we brought weapons, and all of a sudden, it goes from batons and bats and knives to guns and all that crap. We're not about that. We're peaceful. We're peaceful. You know what I mean? Yeah, we have no problem defending ourselves and defending others that can't defend themselves. But at the same time, that whole situation got crazy and got chaotic,
Well,
and like I said,
the scariest part of that entire thing is like, obviously Ted Wheeler is a bad egg. But the thing that scares me the most in that is, like, every one of those police officers who was sitting in that morning meeting before they went out in town that day was given an order, right? And a police officer, it's like, he's got bills too. He doesn't want to lose his job. He doesn't want to be the guy that stands up and says, "Hey, everybody, you know what? I quit. Here's my badge. Here's my badge and my gun. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this to my own city." That's a hell of a position to put a man into. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but you swore an oath, brother, right? Like, if you're getting, it's like we saw in France recently, like a lot of the ambulance people and the policemen and whatever, they were putting down their shields and whatever, and they were joining the yellow vests. It's like, that's what you have to do, because when you shirk your duties and when you obey unlawful orders, right? Because as when I served in the Marine Corps, like they taught us, like, look, if you are given an unlawful order, you're gonna have a choice, right? And if you disobey that order, we have an entire legal system to protect you. So if anybody ever tells you, like, because there was some pretty vile stuff that happened during Vietnam with Marines and soldiers and whatever, like, it's pretty horrible stuff. And it's like, our government, the Uniform Code of Military Justice has come up with a way, like, hey, listen, in the future, if you're captain, if you're, platoon sergeant, whatever, if they say, hey, go into this town and kill a bunch of children and rape all the women, it's like, you're going to have to say no, and just understand, like, the law will have your back. And the fact that didn't happen, and that, and fast forwarding a little bit, we see that the police received a stand down order where Antifa people were acting in the stead of the police with, guiding traffic, and they were harassing that old dude in the car, and we saw the video of that. It's like, that to me is the most unnerving thing, because then it comes down to people like us. It's like, okay, well, I mean, if the police aren't going to do their job, somebody has to do the job, and
right.
And I'm the kind of cat that's going to,
A lot of people don't realize, and there's just a new bill here in Seattle that passed that, like, was, what was it, like, it was called,
it was it's pretty much, it's a bill that pretty much states that
it's like 9 something.
Yeah, it's like, it's 590
it's
something.
It's basically de-escalation.
Yeah.
Instead, like, it's punishing the police officers for shooting on, a criminal for whatever reasons. Right? It's basically putting a police officer in a position where they can be criminally charged for shooting somebody, without the proper reasons. Yeah. So it's basically making it harder for a cop to do their job.
Yeah.
What we're seeing across the board, this is what we were talking about in Portland, is what a lot of people don't realize is police officers from the city of Portland and other, liberal cities, they're leaving. Like, there's a lot of police officers leaving. They're, like, going to other, and we got Bellevue and Renton and Kent. They're all, like, paying huge bonuses to cops right now.
Really?
And Seattle police officers are leaving Seattle. So you're seeing a lot of, like, the Portland and Seattle, the cops are leaving because they're being mistreated.
Thank God.
Their jobs are on the line for doing their jobs. Like you were just saying, a lot of these police officers, they want to do their jobs.
Yes.
And they are starting to see now that legally they're in jeopardy to not only are they ordered to not do their jobs, but if they actually do their jobs, they face legal repercussions.
Yeah, that's a hell of a thing. Yeah. Yeah. That's some Stalin bullshit, right? That's, you know,
Well, that's why Proud Boys is here. That's why groups like us are joining up and being so effective towards the left, is because, you know, we've seen the police officers, and we're very as respectful as we could possibly be
right.
in these environments. And we see them. And we're not going to say that the
hold on. If you can hear me.
certainly act differently towards us.
Hold on. Can you?
Where'd I cut out?
Give me about the last 30 seconds worth.
Okay. Well, we're seeing that, I'm not going to say that the police officers are on our side or they're against us, but I will say this, that the police officers certainly act differently towards us than they do towards groups like Antifa.
Right.
They see where our heart is. They see that we're respectful towards the police and that we're willing to comply and listen to them.
Well, it's our cooperation.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, that's what we do. We cooperate with the police. It's like any altercation we've ever been in. You know, there's always video evidence. You know, any video you've truly seen online, you know, it's never us promoting any violence. It's never anything. It's us defending ourselves. You know, especially me and him. We've been through a lot of shit together with Antifa and everything, from getting like tires slashed, getting all different types of vandalism happening to us. You know what I mean? But on top of that, we have friends that have got glass bottles busted over their head. You know, we have friends that get like jumped in bars, just random acts of violence put on them. You know, we see what's happening. And like I said, we cooperate with the police. We show them video evidence. Everything that's ever happened that me and him have been a part of, anything that's ever happened has been dismissed by the police as self-defense. And we're always in the good because we don't look for violence. They're the ones that bring the weapons. They're the ones that want to do all the violence. And we're the ones that are like, hey, no, but we defend ourselves. We're not going to back down from defending ourselves.
Especially when it's, you know, when it's
just can't be cornered.
And when you see people, what's that?
Yeah. No, I was going to say, what do you do when you're cornered? You know,
right.
What do you do when you're outnumbered? What do you do when, you know, there's 6 of you and there's 20 of them? You know what I mean? And they surround you. Do you expect to be beaten down? No, you're going to fight for your life. You're going to fight because you know that they have weapons. You don't know what the outcome could be. Yeah. You know, and that's the scary part of this whole situation. You have people all around the United States. You have leftists sitting there going, we're violent, we're all these, you know, racist Nazis, when we have a humongous, diverse group of people, you know, all different colors, all different creeds, all different religions, you know. And that's a thing that really irritates me is that you have people that come into these situations thinking, I'm fighting a Nazi, I'm fighting a fascist, I'm fighting this evil monster, when really they're the evil monster.
They're the Nazi, yeah.
They're the one.
Well,
they're the actual fascists.
And it's these people that when they're so bored and they have so much free time on their hands that they're trying to get "Baby It's Cold Outside" banned and the phrase "bringing home the bacon" banned. This is what Dietrich Bonhoeffer was talking about. He wrote this. He was writing a letter to his friends, and Dietrich Bonhoeffer was very instrumental in bringing down Adolf Hitler. And he was discussing with his friends this idea of evil, and he was saying, like, stupidity. Here, I'll read it to you. It says, "Stupidity is a more dangerous enemy of good than is malice. One may protest against evil; it can be exposed, and if need be, prevented by the use of force. Evil always carries within itself a germ of its own subversion, in that it leaves behind human beings at least with a sense of unease. But against stupidity, we are defenseless. Neither protest nor the use of force can accomplish anything here. Reason falls on deaf ears, and facts that contradicts one's prejudgment simply need not be believed." And it goes on from there, but it's like he makes a very sort of visceral point. He's like, look, there's evil, and you can deal with evil, because at least evil has like an objective and you can see it, you can plan around it. But stupidity is just all over the place. And because this man watched the most educated, one of the most Christian nations in the world, completely lose their shit and start murdering Jews. You know what I mean? Like, and this guy was just like, I don't know what's going on here anymore. What's happening? And so for him to, because he chronicled a lot of like what he saw and, how he felt about it. And I see that same thing. It's like you were just saying, it's like that word fascist, it means like stronger together. It literally, like Hillary Clinton's campaign slogan, stronger together, that's what Mussolini meant when he said, hey, everybody, we're going to be the party of the fasci, the group of sticks that cannot be broken. And these people are running around going, you're a fascist and you're a Nazi and we want, we want to control the news and we want there to be hate speech laws. And it's just like, dude, you guys are doing, like, we have seen this before in human history. We know where this goes and we're not going to let it happen this time. And
well, Pete, think about the 16th century philosopher. I know we talked about him last podcast, Voltaire.
Yeah.
If you can convince people to believe obscurity, you can make them commit atrocities, and that's what's happening right now as we speak. And that's the demonization of what the left is trying to do to the right, but it's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Can I put my 2 cents?
Please, yeah.
I've observed. You brought up stupidity, and that's definitely a huge thing. You see that with Antifa. You see that with a lot of leftist groups. But what I've started to feel like, and this is just my observation, like the biggest threat that we have as patriots, as just Americans in general, is this sense of dependency that we've accumulated in our culture towards this kind of selfness.
Yeah.
You see it in social media. It's kind of a worldly, materialistic culture that we've adopted.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose it. It's so important. But at the same time, I have these values. I'm pro Second Amendment. I'm pro free speech. And, I speak this game that, when it comes down to it, I'm going to be out there and I'm going to fight. But I don't want to put my name out there because I don't want to risk losing what I have here on a worldly level.
Right.
And that's the biggest threat right now, is because people are more, as crappy as it sounds. And I understand the struggle is real. We all have it. And I'm never going to hold it against anybody, but our biggest threat to Americans is the amount of responsibilities that we all have accumulated that hold us back from being able to really truly stand for what we believe in.
Yeah.
Because in the culture that we live in nowadays, if you work for a corporation or, anybody who's politically unbiased, you're automatically in danger of losing your job and having financial stability. If you have a family, that's a big deal. And it makes you vulnerable. So that, to me, if we didn't have that, we could wipe out Antifa and any of these groups in a second.
Yeah.
But because we do have this sense of dependency as Americans in our culture that, we are vulnerable, just what we've created for ourselves in our own life. We've made ourselves vulnerable to where that in the environment that we're in, we can't truly fight. And that's the part that's really scary to me, is that, like, how far can we, how much can people take until they really truly, because can you imagine 5 years ago being where we are now?
No, nobody could. Yeah.
We keep saying, well, when it gets to that point, yeah, we're totally going to be, but I keep hearing that. And I'm like, what is the line? Where is the line that's gone too far? Because I feel like it's already been crossed, and that's why I'm involved. And I'm not talking trash to anybody. I would never say that if you're not involved, you're a coward or anything like that. Like, I get it. The responsibilities are real, family first. But that's just what we've established, like what we've created in our culture, is we've made ourselves vulnerable inwardly.
I think that
that's just my 2 cents.
Well, I love that, because one of the silver linings in this is that over the last probably 7 or 8 decades in America, because we became very wealthy and the most powerful. And out of that, we fell victim to a classic blunder that many Christian and Jewish societies have made before, is that, well, we're so wealthy now and we're so powerful, I guess we don't really need God anymore. And we forgot. And we forgot to teach our children, and now we have, 50% divorce rate, and 60% of the population is on some sort of medication and whatever. And the church, right? And the church numbers have
fatherless families, yeah.
And the church numbers have declined. But here's the silver lining, is that we start to see now, like there's a passage that Moses wrote, and he said, listen, here's the thing, God wants you to wash your hands before you eat. And that must have sounded like a really ridiculous thing. Like, what are you talking about? That was 3,500 years ago. And he's like, well, in about 3,500 years, I'm going to explain like what germs are and why I'm telling you need to wash your hands. But right now, you just need to trust me. Wash your hands before you eat, and don't touch dead animals, and whatever. And like, we understand that now, but there's other things in there too. Like to your point, it's like, there's a reason why God said, like, as far as inside of your own nation and inside of your own community, do not lend money and do not borrow money with usury, because then you're an effing slave. And there's nobody in America that's not in debt. Nobody.
We're feeling that right now more than ever. Like, before this environment, it was fine for all of us. Like, oh, I want that nice car, let's go get it. We can afford it, fine. We're not thinking like long term, what's really the threat to my career? I've set everything up, and now we're in the environment where you can lose your job on a whim,
right,
just because of your political beliefs.
You better watch your mouth, mister, or you're gonna lose your job, and we're gonna come and take your effing car, and then where will you be?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, what he was saying, this to me, it's ironic, the contradiction of dependency and also self-entitlement.
Yeah.
A lot of these people, and that to me, that's what bewilders the shit out of me, because me and him are both hardworking men. I mean, Jesus, I put in 54, 60 plus hours a week at work.
Good Lord.
What really irritates me is that 40-year-old man that can't hold a stable job, you know what I mean? That can't take care of himself, let alone take care of his kids. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole reason why Proud Boys was even started. It was for beta males to get up off the couch and stop looking at and jerking off and actually get doing something with your life, man. Like, be a damn man, be an alpha. That's the whole reason why PBs were started. And that's, to me, what's crazy is that everybody looks at us like this was a joke at first, But then guys started realizing, hey, man, like, no, that's right, man. Like, we need to go out there. We need to quit jerking off. We need to find our soulmate. We need to get married. We need to have babies. And if you're conservative, great. It's like, we got guys that are conservative. We got guys that are liberal. We got guys of all, like I said, all different types of ethnicities, religions, creeds. It doesn't matter, man.
Right. Just be a man.
All they want is male bonding. You know what I mean? It's to be around other men, and it's to be around alpha males that can actually show you how to be a man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to cut off real quick, guys. I got to get back to my friends here.
Okay, brother.
It was a pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to keep talking, that's fine.
Yeah, I got
we can do this. We can do this again, man.
Love it.
It's right down the road from me. This is great. Just so I didn't have a whole lot of time, but
Rufio, listen. Merry Christmas. I appreciate you coming on the show.
All right, man. Well, you take care. I'm sure I'll be talking to you again.
Okay, brother. Have a good night. Cool, man.
Yeah.
You guys look like, are you at like a restaurant or something?
We're in a place.
It's okay. They're at a place.
Street location.
Well, it's got that cool, like what you would expect to see in like the Pacific Northwest, like the wooden. I visited Portland the first time in like the early 90s, and I went up there to see a friend from middle school actually, and I went to they had a theater where it was it was a double feature, and it was like two like brand new like relevant movies, but the theater itself was built like during the gold rush. and like you went in and you sat down at a table and you could order beers and you could order a hamburger, and it's like I had never seen anything like that before because of where I come from. And I just thought like architecture really speaks to me because it really tells you like where you're at. And so nobody's ever gonna see this unfortunately because I can't record the screen and have a conversation at the same time, but like the wooden paneling and everything, it's like, oh, that looks like a cool place. Anyways.
Oh no, it's a pretty sweet place.
Well, listen, if there's anything that you need, all right, I was thinking earlier, how do you get people, how do you get large money involved? And I was thinking, if you could have an insurance company, like if everybody in the Proud Boys went and got themselves a $20 a month like life insurance policy, like a term life or a whole life, just something that requires a little bit of money but gets a major institution involved to where you could go to them and say, hey, listen, we are a group of people and we want you to know that there are people who want to kill us, and if they do, you're going to have to part with your money. And that's like when you start screwing with people's money, when it comes to like major institutions. Did you know that if you have life insurance and if you go skydiving and die because your chute didn't open, the insurance company does not have to pay out? Because like they have certain rules, like, well, like if
risk.
That risk, exactly. And so like I'm just spitballing that. I know I probably sound like a crazy person for having just thrown that out, but like if there's anything that you guys come up with, whereas like if we do this, perhaps we can get some leverage on the mayor, on local government or state government or whatever. The show's always here for you. Like this is your show. I'm behind what you guys are doing there. I believe that it's needed, and I believe that even to a certain degree, it's prophetic. You know what I mean? Like this had to happen, and I'm with you. So whatever you guys need, if you ever need, yeah, that's it.
You cut out a little bit there.
Oh, I was saying like if
no,
there,
but,
yeah.
No, I hear what you're saying. Honestly, man, like, when the Guardian came out saying that they got word from Clark County Sheriff.
Oh yeah.
Like not weird, but the Proud Boys are an extremist group.
Right.
And then we all call BS. Everybody did. You know what I mean? But guess what? Publishing companies came out and were like, oh yeah, they're extremists and everything. And then what happened 2 weeks later? The actual FBI came out, Rand Cannon, the head of the Portland FBI, and he clearly said, he's like, no, we can't just sit there and state a group of individuals that is widely spread international. Like, for all you people that believed we're Nazis, just so you know, we have a chapter in Israel.
Right.
We have chapters in Africa. We have chapters in Europe. We have chapters in Australia. We're getting chapters in Asia. It's because people are realizing that the West is the best. Western civilization is amazing. It's abolished slavery. It's promoting capitalism, which in capitalism, beautiful. In capitalism, you can make money by making somebody else money.
Yes.
You don't get that in socialism or communism.
Right.
You don't get that in any other type of economical feature that can actually be brought forth of wealth. Capitalism is wealth, and it's all about what you do with it. Like I was saying about men, I want the men who listen to the show, I want you to really sit there and think about what is your value in life?
Yeah.
What is your value in general? Because I look at myself, and I'm a metal fabricator. I'm a welder. I build shit for a living. You know what I mean? I can do custom, I can do production, I can do anything you really want. I can TIG, MIG, stick, doesn't matter. I see my skill level, and I see what I can do, and I'm putting that forth towards a bigger goal, bigger future in my life. And I want the men out there to really, truly think, what are you really good at? What do you actually have going for you?
Yeah.
Because I think with most men nowadays, they just want to get by. They want to skate by. And I think that's with most people. They want to skate by. But you want to bitch about not having money? Well, guess what? You want money? Go get money. You know what I mean? And do it the legal way. Don't do it selling drugs. Don't do it, do off the wall crap. You know what I mean? Like, do it legit. Start your own business. Get your foot in the door somewhere. Take whatever skills you have and put your focus to it. Because I'm telling you right now, the way everything's going, I'm I watch the economics. I see with the stock market. For what Donald Trump's doing right now. I mean, the tariffs, I'm not a big fan of tariffs because I just believe it hurts the people no matter what. It hurts us more than it hurts anybody else. But, we've been sitting in a bubble, in multiple bubbles right now for a long time.
A long time, yeah.
The market's looking quite bare. It's looking quite bearish. The bull market's over with right now, and there's nothing Donald Trump can truly do because under Obama, we went from being, what was it, like $9 trillion in debt or something like that. Now we're above $20 trillion in debt.
It's an amount of money that doesn't even actually exist.
That's going to show, right? What's that?
I was saying, sorry, you cut out too. I was saying like $20 trillion is the national debt, and then we have over $100 trillion in what are called unfunded liabilities, which is just another fancy word for debt. And that's not an amount of money that actually exists. It cannot be paid back. And, that's, again, like we are entering into very strange times, both on things that we can see and that we can understand, like economics, like science, the sciences of biology or astrophysics or whatever. Like those are things that we can see and we can chart. And guess what? Everywhere, there's weirdness of some sort happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Cool. And then you get into more metaphysical stuff of well, why is it that everybody everybody that we know is so horrifically enslaved in debt? And why is it that these young men that you just addressed, or even guys like me, 45 years old, it's like, look, you do need to use your talents and be good at what you do. And if it's starting a business or writing a book or writing a song or learning how to play guitar or whatever, I don't know what it is, but like whatever it is, I know that there's a sense that you feel lost in that. And the answer to that is go find a group of men and go find, like, if you want to start a business, then you go find a group of men and you find the alpha businessman and you sit him down and say, please give me 10 minutes a month of discipling or mentoring, however it is that you want to phrase it. And you say, please, sir, teach me. You know what I mean? Because you get a group of 10 men together, it's like there's 10 different alphas, and one of them's going to be the alpha fighter, and the other's going to be the alpha businessman, and there's probably going to be the alpha chef. You know what I mean? Like there's the guy that, it's like there'll be an alpha hunter, and then there'll be an alpha guy who knows how to process a fresh kill, because that's an art form in itself. And it's like, and in groups of men, it's like we all find our place. And if you don't have a group of men to find your place in, you're gonna have a hell of a time finding your place.
Well, like they say, you want to know how to make $1 million, you don't go ask a bum. You don't go ask somebody that's never made $1 million. You want to make $1 million, you ask the guy that's made $1 million.
Warren Buffett said, I've said this before on the podcast, like Warren Buffett said, if you ever have the misfortune of coming into $1 million and you've never had $1 million before, you need to go find a millionaire and pay him money to teach you how to be a millionaire. Because what he was saying is like, having $1 million does not make you a millionaire.
Yeah, it doesn't, man. Jesus, you have $1 million, you're getting taxed at the rear end.
And if you don't know how to handle it, you're going to be spending it like a poor person. You're going to be buying shit that you don't need and getting in trouble. And that's, you look at the statistics of people who win the lottery, it's like, man, within 5 years, those people have committed suicide. They've definitely gotten a divorce. They're all dead broke, except for maybe one.
Yeah, well, they don't know what to do with their money.
They don't know.
Just go on a spending spree. They give it to everybody. Yeah. They don't know what to invest in. They don't know what to do with it,
Because they don't.
That's the thing. I mean, like me, I'm not a rich guy. But you know what, man? I'm pretty damn frugal with my money. And, you know, me and my girlfriend, you know, we always talk about, you know, spending expenses and everything, what we're going to do with our money here, what we're going to do here, because, I mean, you know, we want to have a family one day. We want to do something with our life. And let me tell you something, you can't do that when you're thousands, tens of 20s, hundreds of $1,000s a day.
Right.
You know, I mean, like right now, you know, buying a house, the housing market right now is insane. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy.
They want like $225,000 for a POS house that 10 years ago would have been worth maybe $125,000, $150,000.
Right.
You know, why would you want to waste your money and lose equity in a home in this market? That's what bewilders me of people that want to buy in this market. You know what I mean? Like people are like, it's a seller's market. It's like, well, then why the hell would you buy it? If it's a seller's market, let them sell. You know what I mean? The buyer's market, let it buy. You know, I believe in not losing equity inside of a home or if anything. You know what I mean? Like I'm very, like I said, I'm frugal with my money, and I have goals. I have plans. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that my family will be happy later on in life. You know what I mean? Whatever money I have saved up, you know, when I die, I can't take it with me. You know what I mean? So what I can do with it, I can either spread it to my family, or I can try to make the best possible decisions with my money now to make even more wealth later on in the future. And then from doing that, you know, teach that to my children. I think that's another thing that's going on with the family structures now, you know, because you have a lot of families that are fatherless, you know what I mean? You have a lot of divorce, and I don't believe in divorce, you know what I mean? I was raised a divorced kid, and I don't like
me too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't.
It wasn't fun growing up. Don't get me wrong. Me and my stepdad, you know, my stepdad's a hardworking man. He's a good guy. But me and him butted heads my whole life. You know what I mean? He's been around since I can remember. You know, but that whole, which taught me a valuable lesson on being a step parent. You know what I mean? Like you gotta treat, you know, a stepchild. You gotta treat your stepchild like it's your kid. You know what I mean? And you treat your kid good. You know, you don't be an asshole or a dick, or you don't be anything like that. You know what I mean? Because a kid's a kid. A kid. To me, when you see a child, to me, it is like, okay, I have the opportunity to teach this child, this kid, something good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give them information. Don't feed them the BS of life. You know, there's a lot of parents out there, for instance. You know, and I saw this growing up where parents they ride on the coattails of their kid because they want their kid to be a football star or a soccer star, or they want them to be this something. But you know what?
That's such a bizarre thing.
Let the kid decide what they want to be. It's garbage. You know what I mean? Like, I want my kid to be the star athlete. It's like, no, you actually should let your kid be what they want to be and let your kid figure out what they want to do. It's like parents that push their kids to go to college right after high school. It's like, yeah, look what's happening right now.
Yeah, why would you do that? Yeah. Why would you send your, you know, that's one of the baffling things to me. It's like, well, wait a minute, you just said that there's a rape culture going on college campuses. Why would you send your daughters there? Why would you encourage that?
That's that bullshit. That's that bullshit that they like to spread to people. But truly, you know, why don't you let your kid get in the workforce and learn how to work before they actually go to school, to learn how to work in school? Yeah. You know, because I mean, like, don't get me wrong, man. Flipping burgers and stuff like that's not cool. Like I said in the last podcast, I've been cutting and laying tile since I was 8.
Right.
You know what I mean? My old man taught me a work ethic really hard at a really young age, and parents aren't doing that anymore, you know? The chores. Yeah, you know, the chores.
There's no chores anymore.
Yeah. My mom used to, like, you know, I'll pay you this amount if you do this amount of much, and then the parents don't hold that, which makes the kid not want to do that. My old man, if I did something for him, he told me he was going to pay me what he's going to pay me, that's what he was going to do. He stuck to his guns, you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. Work's not fun. Not all work is fun. But you can figure out a way to make it fun and entertaining for yourself. And if you can teach your kid that at a young age, your kid's going to grow up to have a really good work ethic. And with a really good work ethic, we're going to be good in school, man.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. And this is, it's this concept, like what you're doing with those kids, and, you know, the generation of men that are sort of, you know, kind of seeing what's going on and seeing the master plan. It's like, you know what? I'm going to do what I have to do, and also I'm going to raise my sons and my daughters to be the correction, you know, to be the, you know, I've already got it all laid out. Like, you know, I just had another son 2 weeks ago. I've got 2 sons now. It's like, man, when they get about 12, 13 years old, it's going to be, all right, we're going to, you know, instead of guitar practice today, we're going to trade school. We're going to go learn how to do, you know, plumbing and electric and heating and air conditioning, that sort of thing. Because if you want to go to college, because maybe you're super smart. Maybe one of my kids is going to be one of those types of nerds that goes to MIT, which I would be very, very happy about. But it's like, hey, if you want to go to MIT, brother, you can move to Boston and you can get your ass to work and you can pay for it. You know what I mean? Because it's because you're damn sure not going to go into debt. You know what I mean? To go to college, and that's the thing, is that everybody wants that almighty 6-figure income. It's like, dude, I have friends that didn't graduate high school who climb electric, you know, the big electric towers. Dude, that's 120 grand a year.
College, dude.
Huh?
I know all about that. Yeah. I'm a high school dropout, man, and I'm a high school dropout. I make over $50K a year, which isn't anything. Honestly, that's nothing, you know. But my goals are.
It's a hell of a lot more money than somebody with a master's degree gets.
Oh yeah, you know what's crazy is I've done heavy machine operating. I've climbed cell phone towers. I've been my own foreman. I ran my own excavation crews and stuff like that. Now I have my trade in fabrication, which I love, man. I love building things. I love letting my mind and letting me do. You know, I see guys that have been in this trade for 20 plus years, 30 years, 40 years. You know, I've been in it for. 6.5, like legit 6.5, almost 7 years, and my knowledge on everything, it's outstanding because I want to learn about how to do everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get an obsession about it. You get like an OCD where you have a passion for something. That's what I'm saying. You have a passion for something. If you feel like you want to do something, do it. Go out there.
Right.
Go get.
You're built for it.
Put yourself.
Yeah, you were made for that. Yeah.
You know, it's the half-assery. It's everybody that just wants to sit around. You know, that the laziness is what really shocks me. You know, people will just that's what the socialism and the communism. These guys are lazy, man. You know, you go out there, you look at them, they're out of shape, they're out of weight. You know, they're slobs. You know what I mean? And you know, like me, I'll go work a 10, 12, 14, 16-hour day. I'll still find a way to go to the gym, and I'll still find a way to cook dinner for the kids and my girl. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a long day.
I always try to, hey man, but you know what, dude? You gotta live. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. Sleep is precious, but you know what? Life is precious, and the people you love around you are more precious than all of that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And like like I got levels of life, right? So my levels of life is I put God number 1, I put family second, I put work third, and everything else is fourth. Everything else can go screw themselves. You know what I mean? What I really care about is God, family, and work. Because guess what? To have God, you need a good family. To have good family, you need a good job, man.
Yeah.
You need to have some type of income. You know what I mean? Like everything else, the fourth thing, that's just play. You know?
And if you take when you take God out of that equation, that's where you get Antifa. That's where you get a bunch of young men, right? 'Cause those are a lot of young men who should be out there changing the world for the better, but they're lost, and they don't have God, and so they cannot sit down and really ponder and meditate on like what is love and what does it mean to be in a relationship and the sacrifice and the hardship that relationships bring about. You know, like that's the whole thing is like I'm convinced that the whole point of a relationship is so that person that you love can bring all of your bullshit to the surface, because it's infuriating to be in a relationship. It's hard, and you know, like, but the whole point is like it's like, you know, you get angry about something, whatever, and it's like, oh, this is what's on the surface now. I guess this is what God wants me to deal with. And if you know, and then it's like, and then I have to go work and I have to express myself creatively, and I have to enjoy the strength of my own back. Right, so that I can feel that, you know what I mean, that energy that courses through you when you know it's like, dude, I worked really hard and I'm proud of my work. Like there's gold in that, and when you see these kids running around, I've made this observation before. It's like, yeah, I'm pissed that there's Antifa and that these people are completely, they're just not, they're stupid. and I don't use that word as an insult. I mean that like I use it in the sense that Dietrich Bonhoeffer used it. It's like they're in lost, bizarre land, and they're like that's the real shame. Is like no, like you're missing all of the reasons why you're here and the reason why you have life. You don't have any of the components of that. Your life must be an unimaginable hell, and
no, for sure. They're miserable.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they are. And you know what? Yeah, misery loves company. And
sure,
honestly, you want to look at, I know you always go, through good and evil, demonic, angelic. You look at it, and when you see misery, what follows misery? Evil follows misery.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Bad intentions fall in misery.
Yeah.
Miserable people love to see other people miserable because it makes them feel better about themselves. I live with. I used to be best friends with this dude, right? He was bipolar, super bipolar, and I have a lot of friends that are bipolar. And for instance, I have anxiety. You know what I mean? But guess what? All this crap is in your head.
Yeah.
Well, most of it is in your head. Don't get me wrong. There are cases where people need medication and everything. But my whole thing is about like these people with quote unquote mental disorders and stuff like that. If you can't handle your emotions, you know what I mean? If you can't take control of your emotions, can you even take control of life?
No.
You know what I mean? Because life is hard. Life is crazy. One of my favorite stories in the Bible is Job.
Yeah.
Talk about a dude that was taken down.
Yeah.
Right. Everywhere he turned, he was just hit with the hardest bat in the world. You know what I mean? But he never lost his faith, and he kept on going. He kept on living. And guess what, man? There's a promised land for us all out there. It doesn't matter if you're, I'm a Christian. I'll say this, I don't care what your religion is, as long as you do understand that there is a justice in this world that
yes.
you cannot see, hear, smell. It doesn't matter. But there's a justice. This is how my dad always described it to me. There's a justice in this world. Call it karma, call it God, call it whatever you want. But there is something out there that we cannot explain, that if you keep on doing bad shit's going to happen to you. If you keep on doing good things will happen to you. Even if the world feels like it's coming down on you, if you're still doing good, there is good that will come out of it. It's about how you
Absolutely.
and how you take it.
That's why I always say, do not fear these times, because they can't win. They cannot win. It's not how it works. Evil does not win. Sometimes it can.
Your podcast.
Yeah.
The podcast today was great because, we were talking about the end times, and we don't know when the end times are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The 19th century turning over, they're saying it's going to be the end of the world. Y2K, it's going to be the end of the world. No, it's going to be the end of the world. But we don't know, man.
You don't know.
Nostradamus predicted the end of the world in 2332 or something like that. They said the Mayans, 2012 was going to be
2012,
even though even though it's stated as at the beginning of the end or whatever, it doesn't matter. We'll never know the end of our mankind. But what we can do is we can progress to be something better than what they were. And we have been, but right now, we're not progressing. We're regressing. And this is like we were talking about the contradiction of what's happening right now. And people think they're being progressive, but they're being regressive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's it irritates me, man, because you see a lot of emotions happening with the left. You know what I mean? And the right is just everybody's trying to use logic, And let's use this as an example: the N-word, right?
Yeah.
Now, the original meaning of the N-word means ignorant. You know what I mean? But it was a racial slur that was brought upon to African Americans that came here that were slaves and everything else, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, this is the thing. This is the biggest problem. You see the hypocrisy. Black people use the N-word all the time to each other and everything else, and to other people, right? Yeah. Yeah, it happens. But then if somebody else other than black says it, well, they're a racist or whatever. And mostly white people that say they're a racist.
Yeah.
But my whole thing is if we take away the emotional aspect, if people don't react to that word, then that word has no meaning. Sticks and stones can break your bones, but words will never hurt you. And I think kids and people nowadays are not seeing that. They're not understanding that. And to me, I'm quarter Mexican, man. I've been called racial slurs before many a times, dude. As of right now, I look white, so I get called a lot of white racial slurs, right? But you know what? I don't let that take me down. You know, I have a shaved head. Why do I shave my head? Because I'm just like you. I have balding.
I'm bald, yeah. Like, what are you?
The sack that goes up here, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, dude, I had some lady ask me that, like, what are you, a Nazi? It's like, can't you see, like, I'm bald, like, I'm in my 40s, like, this is what happens sometimes, like.
Yeah, bro, I'm 28, man. I've been balding since I was like 18. So, I mean, it happens, dude. Like, it's genetics. It's whatever. I can't.
Uh-oh, you're cutting out there. Cutting out.
I cannot. What is? Oh, am I cutting out?
Yeah, a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Let me. I was gonna say, like.
So I can't change my genetics though. Nobody can change the genetics. You know, you are who you are. Accept who you are. If you're different, you're different. Who cares? People are going to talk smack about you. People are going to bring you down as much as they can. But if you don't let them get to you and you keep on perspiring in your life, you're going to be fine. You're going to be better than everybody else.
Yeah, and don't give any. You know, like, I think the freedom in all of this is like you said, it's the irony. It's like, I think someday somebody's going to look back on this time period, and instead of calling it, like in the old days, the Iron Age, they're going to call it the Irony Age, where it's right. You know what I mean, where it's just like they've lost the you know, the word fascist now means somebody who wants to be independent. And the word racist means anybody who's not a black, female, gay, transgender, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like the meanings of words have, you know, for those people, they've completely lost the meanings of words. Where it's like, but that's like the salvation in that is that we can see that and we can get a deeper appreciation for like what these words actually mean and what, you know, and a deeper appreciation for like instructing our children on you know what it truly means, you know, the responsibility of freedom when it comes to like, hey, listen, you know, like maybe you're in a nation where they don't have the freedom of speech. It's like you have to teach your kids like, no, you're free to speak because you have a voice box in your throat, and that came from God, and therefore no one can ever revoke. And it's like it comes down to, there's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon where there's this really profound question where this lady asks this guy, he's a slave and he's trying to escape and he's asking this lady for help, and she just looks at him and says, well, here's the thing. Do you have the spirit of a free man or do you have the spirit of a slave? And he's like, what? Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, I can give you money and I can give you a horse so that you can escape. But if you're just going to ride off into the desert and you're still going to be a slave because that's who you are in your heart, then there's really no point in me parting with my resources. But if you're truly a free man, it's like, you know what I mean? And this book, that you know, the text that comes from is actually thousands of years old. So like even people back in the ancient times understood it's like freedom is not it's not something that can be passed to you through the laws of the state. That it's something metaphysical and something that you have to decide on. And it's like when we look around in the United States where people are talking about turning in your guns and writing hate speech laws and whatever. It's like, dude, you can write all the laws that you want. I will always have the right to protect myself and protect my family. I will always have the right to say whatever the hell I want to say. You know what I mean? And and again, it's like, you know, thank God that there are all those policemen that are leaving Seattle and going off to, you know, Renton or going out to Olympia or wherever it is that they're going. And, you know, because it's like those men, you gotta, you know, at least in the law enforcement community, it's like, you understand, right? Like I am if you come to my house, like, you know, I'm free because I know that I'm free. I'm not free because you wrote some crazy law. I'm free because, you know, hold on one second. I'm free because I'm free, and this is how I practice my life. So, I thank God that you guys are doing what you're doing and that you are safe as of right now. And I'm sorry that I know that you've got some very real hurdles to get over in your personal life right now because of your previous association with a membership group that shall go unnamed. I want to have you back on the show, and thank you so much, Aaron Williamson, and again, tell Rufio thank you so much for coming on the show. That was a real treat. Thank you for that.
I figured that'd be a nice little Christmas present for you.
Merry Christmas, one and all. And baby, it's cold outside. Woohoo! All right, brother. We'll talk to you again.
All right, my man.